Welcome, my name is Brett Johnson and we're talking about principles that underpin a restart, and today we're going to talk about spiritual distancing. You're familiar with social distancing. Keep 6 feet away, 7 feet away, 13 feet away, 3 feet away, whatever the recommended distance is. And we've got used to this notion of social distancing, or we've reluctantly agreed to it where necessary. But there is a principle of spiritual distancing, and what happens is after the plague of frogs and of gnats and of flies, Pharaoh calls Moses in and says, okay, you can go and worship, but you must worship here in this land. You don't need to go all the way out into the desert. And Moses says, look, we need to go a 3-day journey from here. We need spiritual distancing, because when we do our sacrifices, it's going to be detestable to your people and they're going to kill us. There's a couple of principles over here. The one is this, is that when the enemy starts to get on the back foot, when you're getting close to having a victory, the enemy will try to get you to compromise. Well, follow God, but just not that much, right? You can worship God, but, don't go to town. Just kind of keep it in moderation. There's an interesting scripture here. I will let you go to offer sacrifices to the Lord your God in the desert, but you must not go very far. And there'll be people say, yeah, you can serve God with your business, but don't go very far. Don't take it overboard. Jesus says to his disciples, come ye apart and rest a while, says an old translation. Just back away and rest. And we need to have a spiritual distancing. Why? Is it possible that we've become too close to this world, to Wall Street, to exercise God's tolerance, political correctness, the religions of the world that are not true religions, fashion, entertainment, sports, our own image management? We've become so preoccupied with ourselves that we needed a divine reset. We need to get spiritual distancing. These things are deadlier than the coronavirus. There's also things that we've tolerated in our lives that are just not acceptable to God. Things such as racism, sexism, ageism, denominationalism, tribalism, a bunch of other isms that are not acceptable to God. And we need to get distance from these things. We need to get mileage between ourselves, not a day, an hour, 3 days distance between ourselves and these things. They're going to be far from us as we head into the next season. We need spiritual distancing. These things are sometimes harder to eradicate than a virus. So practice spiritual distancing. You are in the world, yes. You are not of the world. Come apart, says Jesus. That same message he gave his disciples, he gives us today. Until tomorrow.